Hello everyone, this is the Prussian Prince with more Chaos Riders. This is a Fall of the Samurai tournament match from like over a year ago, I believe now. But I do want to get this recorded, so it is the round of 8 match between myself and the Klayton of VM Clan. Klayton is a person I have played so many times against previously in other tournaments, so this is gonna be quite interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna go over and put it in slow motion. Yeah, and I know I haven't recorded many Fall of the Samurai videos recently, in fact, at all. But yeah, I'm gonna go back into recording these, because, you know, at these tournaments. I may stream some Warhammer, who knows. But, anyway, let's go over the builds. So again, it is a best of 5, by the way. We've got 40 RK here on my left flank. They're all rank 2 essentially, 2 attack upgrades as I normally go with. And I do have a revolver cap hidden there in that forest. Infantry line, well, we have 2 red bears on the right, 2 red bears on the left, a Royal Marine unit, and I believe, well, 1, 2, looks like 2 white bears and a black tortoise. Not the best position for this. I mean, this black tortoise is not in the best position. Oh, by the way, it's a rank 1 black tortoise with reload upgrades. That's how I generally decide to. What I generally decide to go with, but I don't know why the information isn't showing up on the units. That's weird. Anyway, that's not a big deal. Or actually, can I fix it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's fixed. So I can see the unit stats whenever I want to, because I have actually restarted or reinstalled Shogun 2, so that's why it is as it is. Anyway, got my revolver cap moving up here, and again we have archery dojo and farmhouse. So I mean, definitely one wants to get the archery dojo in this situation over the farmhouse. It's more important, especially with the setups that we use. We use, I mean, basically no melee infantry here for either of us. However, Klayton has smartly popped naval bombardment, which does force me to stop my Royal Marines here. So, but I am in a position to deny him the archery dojo in case he moves up. Actually, I'm going to get first shot on him, and I'm in the forest, so this is going to be a great engagement for me. And he might actually even target this white bear unit instead of my Royal Marine, so this is going to be great. There's an engagement also on this flank as well, however, I'm getting worse end of this engagement. Am I, though? Because I got a volley off, killed 9 guys, and I'm pulling out before he gets time to do anything here. The bombardment does not hit my units. You're very close to not hitting it, though. Oh, actually does get a really good hit there, though. And doesn't kill anything there. Now, here I'm mismicroing my Arky, but I'm finally going to move in. I could have done this way earlier, and it would have gone way better for me. Now, he's going to get the farmhouse here. I cannot deny him that. And this is a pretty big blunder here with my Arky, but at the end of the day, it doesn't look like it's going to matter, as both the Arkys are going to be off the field anyway. And yeah, it looks like I'm going to commit more Yarkeys here, and he's not in position to defend his US Marines. I've got this red bear flanking the US Marines as well, so I'm getting the better end of this engagement here. Also, if I can get with a proper charge into this US Marine, I should have done this earlier. I was a little bit late with my charge. Here I'm moving in the Yarki, perhaps a bit prematurely, but it looks like they're going to do just fine, and they're going to get into those bears and deal massive damage. So I got my cab in before he got his. Now there's this Yarki here, which is a huge problem for me, because he's going to get into my Marine, but his Marines are so damaged that it should be more than fine. Here I got my revolver cap doing massive damage to his revolver cap, so this is really good for me right now. And there we go, I'm crushing the revolver cap here. The Yarkis here are not doing... My 2 Yarkis there got crushed, so but this is very close right now. Somehow it looks like he got the better end of that engagement, so I have to pull away with this red bear. Engagement over here, you can see my general is starting to support and get rid of this Yari key, which is very needed so that my units can properly fire and not be disrupted. Got a revolver cap doing a very important flank here onto this US Marine. And that's going to be huge here. And this Yari key should go down to the red bear in melee, because there's just not a lot of Yari key units in the forest. Now here I've got the red bears here in the forest, which is a great position for me. However, he is moving in from the flank on me, but I should still be getting the first shot off. It's very important. And he's charging into the forest here with some of his white bears, but yeah, here I'm not doing so hot, but I have my marines. He has lost his marines. And on this flank, I've got my general providing supporting fire against this red bear. This is definitely one engagement for me. He's gonna pull it out of here. I've got the archery dojo. He has the farmhouse, so he can actually kite me if he so wishes, but he doesn't have any units to kite me with. Forgot to say I have a command gun general, and his general is full command, so he can't actually fire. I got my Royal Marines still on the field, and now, since I have won this engagement, I've decided, okay, it's time to pull back from here, and I'm gonna let this unit here keep firing and keep him busy, and this is a good engagement for me. What's happening over here is pretty good, so I'm like accepting this engagement. But I really should pull back here. Well, actually I shouldn't. So I'm continuing to fire on this unit because I know it's looking at the other one. So this is really good. I can actually hit part of his unit very nicely because they're out of the forest, so they're not really getting that much cover. And here this red bear is basically these two units are beating 3 units, so this is really good for me. My marines, I've pulled them away because I still may need them in the late game, so I don't want to lose them right now. So yeah, that's why I pulled them away. I'm flanking over here. This is looking very good for me at the moment. Everything is just fine. My red bears here, yeah, these guys are eventually going to lose this engagement, but that's gonna be fine because I've got Black Tortoise here flanking his white bears. I've got more units over here. My command gun general is able to provide supporting fire now as well. He's gonna try and charge my Black Tortoise, but I'm repositioning my general to be able to shoot his gen. Make a mistake here though, because his white bears are hitting my own white bears and destroying my general in the process. It's a pretty bad mistake on my part, but it's not gonna matter at this point because I just have so many units. And again, I'm gonna start flanking this unit very soon. It's gonna be the end of him. Now over here you can clearly see these guys are pretty much dead, and everything routes or he concedes defeat. I don't remember what was the case here, but we can go ahead and take a look at the statistics. Quite a nice game. I mean, at the end of the day it didn't look close, but it was actually fairly close. There were some key moments, especially the engagement against his marines. That was a better one for me for sure, and the fact that I got the archery dojo. So you can see we actually deployed the exact same amount of units, but I didn't lose as much and I killed more as you would expect. Kill wise, Royal Marines definitely pulling their weight. And the revolver cap, yeah, the revolver cap, I used it slightly better than Klayton here. Well, not slightly, because his revolver cap just died to my own revolver cap. So that was very, very, very effective, because then I got my revolver cap in to shoot his US Marines, which I guess that was probably the most important moment. I mean, my revolver cap killing his revolver cap and then finishing off his Marines. I guess you can call this revolver cap MVP then. Yeah, that's game 1, so we'll see how game 2 goes. And here we are with game 2, Slumbering Settlement. See how this one pans out in just a moment. As soon as the game loads in. Come on, game, load in. I need you to load. And some situation, like, it's what they changed in Total War games after Shogun 2 that was really good is the loading time. The first startup was so much faster compared to Shogun 2, for instance. Like in Shogun 2 you have to wait like over a minute for it to actually load into the menu, whereas in Rome 2 and the newer Total War games it's maybe like 5-10 seconds, I don't know, it's like pretty darn fast. Anyway, here we are, Slumbering Settlement. We've got Archery Dojo on the far right, in the center Sword Dojo, and on the left flank Shrine. So very, very good dojo, especially the ones on the flanks. However, let's go over the builds as I normally like to do in slow motion. What do I have? Well, I have my good old command gun general, as I usually do, with again my usual 4 Yari key rank 2 and the revolver cav. Then I also have 2 red bears on the right flank, 2 white bears in the center, and the black tortoise here by the sword dojo. Also red bear with a white bear on this flank over here, one behind the other. Not the best positioning here by these two bear units. I also have a US Marine here, but this is not the best position for the US Marine either because it's in the forest. Don't know what exactly I'm doing there. I'm also gonna push up the red bear here on the side with the shrine, hopefully get the shrine. And I'm gonna be contesting the archery dojo. The archery dojo, it should really be a stalemate, but I am sending units forward here to try and get something done. However, this could potentially be a mistake because he's gonna get the first shot off on me, so this is gonna be really good for him. Yep, he definitely got a better engagement there. But now I get the first volley off here. So I guess we kind of traded engagements. And here this is not an engagement I'm gonna win. But he does charge his Yari keys in here. I'm not gonna charge mine in because this would just slaughter them because of the line of fire. So now I've got my revolver cav. They're gonna destroy that Yari key. So this Yari key hasn't actually paid for itself. I countered it pretty well. Gonna charge in my Yari key over here. His charge, actually I could have kept attacking in and gotten to his red bears here, but I guess I didn't. So he's gonna get a great engagement here on this side. And meanwhile over here, this is where the engagement is excellent for me. My US Marine is flanking his Royal Marine, and I'm gonna get a nice cap charge in here. I won that engagement as well. Looks like his Yari keys are gone, but oh, we both lost the Yari key. However, now I can flank him over there. On this side though, disaster has struck. We're gonna completely lose this side for sure. Like, there's nothing I can do over there. Meanwhile though, I'm gonna charge through the center here with this Yari key because he doesn't seem to have cover over here. He went to his black tortoises away, which is a mistake. So now I can actually win the center engagement. My revolver cav has gone off the field. I don't know what actually happened to it, but I did get a flanking charge onto this white bear, and my marine unit is still alive here. Gonna be able to hopefully capture the shrine soon, but he's not letting me because of that red bear. However, his revolver cav here is doing massive work and has just like completely killed off one of my Yari key. I just charged in my general here because it's like, this game is kind of over at this point. Even though he doesn't have any marines left, I mean, he's still got plenty more units than me, so like, I'm trying to do all the risky stuff I can at this moment to get me the edge, but it nearly gets my general killed, so that's not worth it. And I just decide, okay, well, that happened. And that was probably the most decisive game so far, I'd like to say. Well, it's only 2 games, but yeah, like, it was way more decisive than game 1, which I won. So it's now going to be 1-1 in this best of 4. I need to win 2 more games, and he needs to win best of 4. I mean, best of 5. So yeah, I need to win 2 games. He needs to win 2 games now. So essentially, it's turned into a best of 3. I know some people don't like that, but here you go. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's kill-wise, US Marines. You can see they did very well. Revolver cab, his revolver cab didn't do much, but I guess it didn't have to. Mine is pretty much gone. But yeah, he definitely crushed my right flank. That was the huge issue, the huge, like, big blunder that I made in that game. And his was like, he messed up with his marines. Oh, they actually still got 176 kills, but my marines, I did much better than him on that flank, whereas he did much better than me on the other flank. So that's how it went, and he was even more cost efficient than I was on my left flank. So we kind of traded flanks, but he got the better end of that. So see y'all in game 3. So here we are in game 3. We are now on Osaka Plain, different map. We'll see how this one goes, but I do think that, well, I mean, I like Osaka Plain, honestly. Because you can do a lot of things on this map in 1v1. You can go full line, you can go cav build, like just put all your cav on one side and just cross the river, I guess. Sort of maneuver. And yeah, let's take a look at the dojos first. We have Shrine, Workshop, and Farmhouse on this side. Build wise, well, I've probably got the same build as I used before. I like solid builds in Fall of the Samurai, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, I have Command Gun, Looks like 2 Yariki, rank 2 on this side. 2 red bears with a white bear on the left flank. White bear with the black tortoise force on the center left. And on center right, I've got a single white bear here. Now for the far right, we do have, well, 2 red bears and 1 white bear. So as you can see, I opted for a no 150 range strategy here on this map. Can definitely work. It's more than fine, because that allows you to get more lines, and if you get more lines, you can really start to get a hold of the map. Like, for instance, let's see what kind of build Klayton went for. So he has his good old full command gen, right? Then we see 2 red bears on the right. We have this US Marine in the center. 1, 2, 3. 2 white bears here with the Shogunate Guard infantry. And we see 2 black tortoise force on the left flank, which is a mistake that he puts the black tortoise on the left flank. He should have used probably the white bears here, because these black tortoise force, they will just rout very, very quickly. So it's not the greatest, not the best units to put on a flank, honestly. You should put something like red bears, well, like he did on this flank. This is a great way to do it. Or white bears, even white bears, because the Shogunate Guard infantry, it's a great idea to keep your black tortoise force around your Shogunate Guard infantry or the US Marines, because they will give you extra, how should I put it, extra morale, which is much needed on black tortoise force. Also, I don't know if I did call out this white bear that he had, but anyway, you can clearly see that I do have more lines than him, so I can do more things on the map. So you can see here, he has 2 lines, I have 3 lines. Here he has 2 lines, I have 3 lines. So, does he though? I can't really see. Yeah, I have 3 lines here, he has 2 lines here. I have 3 lines here, he has 2 lines here. So definitely I've got the advantage, which will actually allow me to push up on this flank. Now I have captured the shrine, and I am working on the farmhouse. You can clearly see that this is really good for me. I'm in a great position. He does get the workshop, but I get the shrine on my side, so I would argue that the shrine is more important than the workshop. And Fall of the Samurai anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention, I have a saber cap actually. A rank 2 saber cap with 2 attack upgrades. Totally forgot about that unit. But yeah, I got my black tortoise in the center. Because, I mean, who's gonna push the center, right? And if he pushes the center anyway, I'm just gonna pull back. So here comes my engagement. I kind of messed it up a little bit here because my cav is way too close. It doesn't lose too much on the initial volley, so I guess it's fine. But he made a pretty big mistake here, I think, because it looks like he just has 2 red bears on this flank and nothing else. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go around with the Yariki. I'm going to charge into the rear, I believe. There we go. I'm going to go and straight for this red bear. And now I'm going to push up my 3 lines, so I've got like huge advantage here. He's going to start sending units to support his right flank, but this isn't going to work out actually because I have already won this side. So if he commits with his cav, it's just going to turn into an even worse engagement for him. So now he's moving up his Shogunate Guard infantry here, and I'm going to keep moving more of my cav to the left flank as I am seeing him do that. Now here I'm going to continue pushing up my lines. So I'm trying to make sure this unit is shattered because I don't want any of his units coming back at this point. That would actually turn around things quite drastically. Now I'm going to move up my white bears. These Yariki here are actually doing alright. I mean, they were quite annoying for these red bears. So I'm like, okay, I gotta disrupt them again. I know my Yarikis will lose, but I should disrupt these red bears, which I do here. And they're not able, these red bears are unable to fire properly right now, so I did a great job there. My Yarikis here will lose, but I've got bears here to support. I should have moved up my general here to support my Yariki, but I've got more cav incoming. And over here, this is an engagement I am not gonna win, so I should be pulling back my white bears here. But I guess there's no line of sight for either of us. I make a huge mistake here with the white bears, and this is not a good idea. I don't have the proper attack orders here, so all of a sudden, this engagement has changed from a very good one for me to pretty much a disaster. Because I completely lost it on that flank now. Well, I didn't completely lose it. But yeah, now I'm gonna get a Yari Cav charge in, but not the best spread on this Yariki, so they're not gonna do that well. I am trying to turn around this engagement. I'm gonna shoot his red bears, and I'm gonna turn around this white bear to shoot that. And I've got more of my cav coming in, so this is getting kind of crazy here. I do get my Yariki into these Marines, which is also a very influential moment, because I can't allow his Marines to fire. Now he's gonna get his Yariki, or at least try to get his Yariki into my revolver cav. But I've got this white bear to block him. So now I can make sure my revolver cap is safe and then actually continue firing. Oh, I decided not to choose the Yariki, but I'm going to fire onto the US Marines. Now I have, once again, this flank has turned, and this time it's in my favor. This has gone pretty crazy. I guess the revolver cap has no more ammo, which is why I decided to charge into the US Marines. And they're doing pretty fantastically over there. Now my Yariki are engaging his general. I've got my Saber Cav coming in as well. I'm gonna pull him out because I don't want to fight Cav with Saber Cav. But now on this flank, looks like he's gonna push up, which is great for me because he is in the water. He cannot move quickly, and I've got my 2 lines here destroying his lines. He's gonna move up to Shogun Guard Infantry, and they're taking massive damage because of the formation they're in. And this is a bug in Follow the Samurai. They get into a really bad formation when they move around like obstacles, like buildings, for example, especially buildings. It's a mistake by me. I don't know what I'm doing here. This unit did get 50 kills, but it's still not worth it, even for a Black Lotus force. I'm gonna get his general there. I'm gonna... Looks like I'm flanking around with my general and trying to make sure this unit is shattered. But yeah, the Saber Cav charge into the White Bears is gonna hurt a lot. I've got flanking maneuvers here. Looks like he did actually charge into my White Bears with his Shogun Guard Infantry. But I've still got this flank here very much secured, so I'm good there. This line unit here is gonna fall soon, but my Saber Cav here is making short work of these White Bears. Looks like my general's being targeted, but that's fine. Still 30 out of 30. 93 kills. So at this point, I should have the victory here. Quite a close game, though. Again, I have plenty of units on the field, but it's still close because he had a pretty big... I had a big advantage on my left flank. And then he had a... He turned it around and he had a...
Your men are running, sir.
He had the better position on me there as well after a while, but then once again I turned it around, so it's an interesting seesaw what that happened on that flank. But yeah, that's gonna be game 3, so now I'm gonna be up 2-1 in this best of 5 against Klayton, and I'll be on match point. Let's take a look at the battle statistics though. Definitely gonna be interesting. Quite sure why I've got different music playing. It's like the battle music and menu music are both playing. Oh, it's fine now. I never had that before actually. So you can see here I deployed slightly more. I didn't lose as much, but I killed more. Unit statistics. Yeah, look at those revolvers. Saber Cav. Even the general 0 lost, 100 killed. Pretty effective. His revolvers did a lot of work as well, definitely, but mine killed the Marines, and yeah, it was very, very important. These Marines did a lot of work. I didn't have any Marines, so again, I didn't have any morale buffing units. So it was a bit risky in that regard, but if you play it out correctly, you can definitely make it work, even without, say, Shogun Guard Infantry, or like any 150 range for morale boosts. So even without morale boosts or 150 range, you can still pull off full line builds, cheap line builds, if you play correctly in terms of tactics, maneuvering. So that was game 3. We'll see you in game 4. So here we are with game 4 of the match. This time on Hidden Mountains. Hidden Mountains. Actually, not one of my favorite maps. Most of the time, I'm not a fan of this map because all the line of sight blockers. I prefer flatter maps personally, but it's alright. I can play these maps as well. Alright, slow motion time though. Let's see what we got. We have one shrine on one flank, then farmhouse over there. On my center left, we have the archery dojo. So potentially, if you focus on this side, you get both the farmhouse and the archery dojo, so that could be good. But again, you can't just let your opponent have the shrine for free either. Anyway, let's look at my composition as it is on slow motion. We've got plenty of time. We got my command gun general, of course. 2-yard key here, rank 2. 2-yard key here, rank 2 with a revolver cap as well. Now I do have on the right flank 2 red bear infantry again in a blocky formation because they move much better like this. They're much more responsive. They can get into a position much easier. So that's why I'm moving them in a blocky formation like this. But of course, this is not combat effective, this formation. So you want to spread out your units as much as possible once they get into combat. Anyway, other than that, we have, looks like 3 white bears here, black tortoise over here with the US Marine for the morale boosting aura. Then we have, looks like 2 red bears on my left flank, and it's just 2 red bears. Now for Klayton, however, we have full command gen, as mentioned before. None of us actually changed our generals. It may have been against the rules, I don't remember. It does have, however, 2 yard key here, a revolver cap, and 2 more yard keys. So again, pretty standard cap composition. Then we do see 3 white bears and 1 red bear over here on this flank. Then we have Royal Marines. It's like 2 more red bears and a black tortoise with, interestingly enough, spear levy. So that's the first melee unit I'm able to see here. So let's hit play and see where the engagements will happen. This is gonna be pretty important over here, this engagement. We'll see how this works, but you see he's kind of like split up his forces, and I'm gonna get the first volley here, but it doesn't matter because my first volley is on like the white bear. So this engagement so far, pretty good for him actually. I do start targeting his Royal Marines, so this is gonna be going good for me, but again, not the perfect engagement. I'm gonna move in with my Yariki here though, because I am gonna have to try and get into his Marines. And I'm sending in another Yariki here. So this is the one that's gonna change things here potentially, because his Yariki is far too late. So I managed to stop his lines from firing, and I've got extra lines shooting onto his white bear here. My Marines are going down much quicker than his though, because they're getting focused on by multiple units. But I got my general here, I've got him rallying. On this side, looks like he's gonna actually get a nice saber cap charge in before my units fire, and I do give an attack order, which means these guys will not be able to fire. There's the problem, but I've got my revolver cap here ready in position to shoot back at the saber cap. It's gonna be huge. Now this engagement here not going very well at all for me. I have to pull back my red bears on this left flank because he has more units, but I am gonna start committing more Yariki here. I'm destroying his Yariki here. I've got more lines here, and this engagement has actually turned around for me. So that Yariki, that saber cap, even though it got into my red bears, it wasn't able to do anything because the revolver cap just killed it off. Now here looks like he's got Yariki in, and he's chasing my general off. However, this Yariki of mine here is doing quite the work. However, the revolver cav of Klayton is making sure that it's going to die. Looks like my general is going to be in a huge amount of trouble here. I might actually end up losing my general, but I've got more Marines here. And this white bear should actually be able to fire at the revolver cap. Pretty sure I had guard mode on, but these guys are not firing. I'm not sure what is happening there, but I'm getting my revolver cap to kill his general. This is a blunder by him, actually. His general is gonna die very, very soon here. And I am kind of turning it around here. The good thing for me here is that, well, I'm kiting here, which is great. He does, however, have the farmhouse. Gets a nice charge here with the Yariki into my white bears. But I do end up taking the engagement on this flank quite decisively. And here he's got, well, he has these Marines left, but I'm kiting here, which is giving me plenty of time. He has 4 units chasing 2 of my units, so this is a very cost-effective trade for me, because he has not been able to engage these units properly, so this is very good for me. I finish off his last cav unit. Meanwhile, I still have a revolver cav, which is going to be annoying for his Royal Marines. Like, just 17 can still be enough to disrupt his Royal Marines, enough for my lines to shoot him. If he pulls out, he's going to take massive damage. I get a nice rear charge off into these Royal Marines, killing so many of these Royal Marines. Look at them fall, and now, like, I can pull out the revolver cap, only losing 4, and I do rout the Royal Marines. So with that move, should have been able, I think, like, at this point, I have a pretty significant advantage, because I still have a cav unit. I know, revolver cap, 13 men left. kind of not really a cav unit, but still, any cav that can charge is still gonna be fairly important for delivering the morale shock from rear charges, and even just disrupting the units for just a few seconds. So I got my white bears here. Looks like they're gonna get the first volley off, and yeah, they're just fighting against black tortoise, so should be no issue. Moving my revolver cav around, gonna get a nice rear charge here. Got my white bears here in position. However, this is not the greatest position for me, but I'm kiting away with this red bear. He's doing a great job with the spear levy, but at this point, yeah, I shouldn't have done that charge with the revolver cav, but I guess it was enough to rout that black tortoise force despite me losing the cav unit. But yeah, at this point, this red bear, I have the better position over here because I am in the forest and he's not. However, it's interesting though, because he does have the farmhouse and the archery dojo. However, I managed to rout off the spear levy with my 2 red bears. I turned around and fired. But yeah, this is pretty much a blob here. I'm getting very lazy with my units, but it should be fine. I should just split some of them up, but I guess it's okay at this point to just do this, blow up and keep firing. Yeah, I got really lazy here. But I won this engagement here, so because I did that, now I can send more units in, and he's gonna get surrounded with his last 2 units, and this should be it for the match. But oh, this is a huge blunder though. Not quite sure why his units were actually firing at like routing units or something. That was pretty damn weird. That being said, he's doing quite well here, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's gonna try and finish off these units. Actually, he may have done that. Potentially, yeah, he may have actually beaten those units over here if I didn't have those. But yeah, with those 2 red bears here on this side, looks like he's gonna try and go in melee, and he does not manage to. Last unit of his is routed off the battlefield, but this is actually, I guess, the closest game so far, one could say. And yeah, the most one-sided one was definitely the second game. I got pretty much crushed in that one. But the others were fairly close, even though the score is 3-1 in my favor, and that is going to be the match. Let's take a look at the final statistics. Stats, unit stats, kills. Yeah, revolver cav. My US Marines didn't do that much, and indeed they didn't. They got focused down. But his Royals did much more work. And I would have done more had my revolver cav not actually managed to rout them off in the forest. That was very important, because if I didn't do that, I may have actually lost the game. And it would have been 2-2, would have been a very important... well, that was a very decisive moment. The fact that I got my revolver cav in to rout his Marines that were like 50-60 strong, I don't remember. I only lost 4 guys in my revolver cav unit. I mean, that was pretty impressive. So I guess you could say my revolver cav was MVP in that game. Not necessarily due to firing its guns, as one would think, but because of the melee charges that it did. But anyway, that is the game and match. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, follow me on social media. I'll see you next time.